Yeah, so first I would define the lens of this as a little broader than ad tech. I think of it as, digital marketing, which incorporates, yes, the technology intermediation of ad spend, but also all kinds of software and data analytics on the marketing technology side. And so if we take that as our scope in terms of digital marketing, there's a lot going on. There is high growth in the sector. Not only, again, in the intermediation or the really big impact on media spend is the intermediation of data and technology. So clearly, and you could see that at Cannes this year, and I think you'll see a lot of that even more so at DMEXCO, is this notion of technology intermediaries that are changing the way media is bought or media is sold and ads are bought. And then on top of that, as I mentioned, a much broader market opportunity is the data analytics and the software that goes along with the media buying, but it doesn't necessarily overlap exactly the same. We're seeing interest from a lot of categories. As you and I have talked about, one of the most interesting and fascinating things about this sector currently is the growth of and the depth of the robust strategic buyer pool. There are companies in the space that have gone public and have gotten scale. Even some of the more scaled private companies are making acquisitions as they bolster up on capabilities, whether that be in a different geography or a different technology or a different media channel. So you've got folks that are bulking up to get to requisite scale. You've also got the usual suspects, Google, Yahoo, AOL, making acquisitions because this is a fast-paced sector and you always have to stay up on the latest technology or migration into other channels. And then you've got all these new entrants. And that's actually the most exciting part. So folks that heretofore have been outside of digital marketing, it's the CRM guys that are forming their big marketing clouds, the big tech services companies, Big Blue, folks like that coming into this space. Yes, the consumer internet companies like Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, but let's not forget the sort of second rung of those, Snapchat, Pinterest, Pandora, Spotify. I think you're going to see a lot of those companies get active as they're trying to enhance the monetization of their large consumer networks. And then, and that still leaves the large, Asian commerce conglomerates, coming in. And then most recently we saw the impact, and we'll continue to see, the big telcos. Yes, Verizon made a bold move, but watch for Comcast and AT&T, and let's not forget the foreign telcos, Singtel, Telstra. We're going to see, I think, a lot of activity. And then back on the usual suspects category, the media companies. Heretofore, they have not proven to be major buyers of technology, but I think the forward-leaning ones, Sky, Bertelsmann, ProSiebenSat, News Corp, I think you can expect to see them make moves in this sector as well. So that's a whole bunch of different industries with a whole whack of deep-pocketed large strategics. So I think things are going to get very interesting. By the way, all of these companies will be at DMEXCO, investigating technologies, investigating how all these changes are happening to the digital marketing space writ large.
So Terry, you'll be presenting there, you'll be speaking. Give us some ideas about what you'll be speaking about the state of digital. If you could give us a little peek, perhaps.
Sure. So, a lot of these issues that we're talking about now, I'm going to be discussing on the main stage at DMEXCO with my State of Digital Marketing presentation. And really it's around this increasing intermediation of, again, data and technology into the marketing equation. I was last week in Cincinnati for P&G's Signal event, and boy, there's a marketer that is very lean forward in terms of how they think about the migration to digital and the intermediation of data as it relates to how they'll be able to message with consumers going forward. And I think most marketers that are lean forward into this space are very much interested in that topic, and a lot of them will be there at DMEXCO.
And finally, getting back to the finance world and deals, what about the prospects for IPOs?
Yeah, so the public markets have been imperfect as it relates to companies in digital marketing. I think there's a number of reasons for that. They get scared of the fragmentation. They've been confused on the different business models because they range on a spectrum from media to technology. And there's been some disappointments of some of the public companies. But also, I think it's a function of the unknown as it relates to how dominant the large players like Google and Facebook are going to be. And you know, there has been a number of sectors that have gotten largely squeezed out by the big guys. And I think public investors are a little worried about how that will evolve. And so it has not been, the public markets has not been a highly active area for leading companies in this sector.
And finally, Terry, tell us what's new with Lua Partners, what you guys are up to, what the roadmap looks like for the next year or so.
Yeah, so at Lumo, we have been extremely busy. I think if you start the clock now and look at the next 6 to 12 months, you're going to see an array of transactions being announced at scale. We're working on a number of very considerable transactions. A growing proportion of those are over 500 million. So these are scale transactions by a wide variety of different strategic parties. So again, I think this it'd be one thing if this was all just theory and happy talk, but I think the proof will be in the pudding, and we're working on some very interesting stuff, which I think is a harbinger, a very, very good harbinger about the health of this sector. All that activity has been on the advisory side, and that's been terrific. But we have a couple of new initiatives at Lumo. We're announced the launch of Lua Partners, which is a $100 million venture capital fund to sort of put our money where our mouth is and leverage the fact that we have unique access and insights into putting money to work for leading companies in marketing technology. We're also announced that besides our annual Digital Media Summit event that takes place in New York in May, we're augmenting that with a West Coast event in November 12th in Menlo Park, our Digital Marketing Summit. So we're looking forward to that.